President Sisi, thank you so much. You're here at the UN meeting with world leaders, obviously not a formal meeting with President Obama. The U.S. has resumed $1.3 billion in annual military aid to Egypt. Is the United States giving you what you need right now in your war against ISIS?
Let me first offer my greetings to the American people, and I wish to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak through CNN to them. The question really is not whether or not the United States is giving us enough aid to fight against ISIL, because the thing is, when it's carried out, it's the result of a discussion and a dialogue about the requirements to defend Egypt's security and stability.
عن مصر والمتعلقة بالأمن والاستقرار ومحاربة.
Fighting terrorism is a new element or factor to the aid program. So we talk and discuss those issues, and the military committees sit down to identify the requirements, and they are dealt with positively.
عشان تحدد المطالب وبيتم التعامل معها بإيجابية.
This week you have been speaking at the UN. You have had several very significant meetings, including meetings with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. You are the first leader of the Muslim world that has met with Donald Trump, the leader of the most populous Arab country, such a crucial country. What was your impression of Donald Trump?
My impression about both meetings was really wonderful.
Donald Trump, what was he like in your meeting? Do you think that he would make a strong leader?
No doubt.
So one of the things, of course, that's so important about meeting with Donald Trump as being the first leader in the Muslim world to meet with him is, of course, he has said he will ban Muslims from entering the United States. This week he's talked specifically about extreme vetting and said that he won't allow people to come to the United States, Muslims from countries that aren't capable of carrying out that vetting. Did you and Donald Trump talk about his Muslim plan?
The United States in general conducts very strict security measures for everyone who wishes to visit it, which has been in place for quite a few years. It's also important to know that during election campaigns, many statements are made and many things are said. However, afterwards, governing the country would be something different and would be subject to many factors.
It sounds like you think Donald Trump is saying what he needs to say to be elected, but that he might not follow through with the plan.
I don't want to be unfair to anyone here. During election campaigns, there is a perception that could be based on a certain vision and point of view. Then that vision or point of view gets corrected, and it develops as a result of governing experience, reports, and advice from experts.
You also had a chance, I know, to meet with Hillary Clinton this week. You've known her, obviously, you've met her before. Second time you've met her since you took over as president of Egypt. You saw her and Bill Clinton at the Clinton Global Initiative here in New York just 2 years ago. Do you think Hillary Clinton would make a good president?
Political parties here would not allow candidates to reach that level unless they are qualified to lead a country the size of the United States of America.
Clinton has spoken about you. In fact, in a debate earlier in the primary with Bernie Sanders, she had this to say.
We saw what happened in Egypt. I cautioned about a quick overthrow of Mubarak, and we now are back with basically an army dictatorship.
What do you say to that?
I will answer this question in two ways. I believe that Mrs. Clinton didn't make that statement after our most recent meeting. But also in Egypt, there can't be a chance for any dictatorship. Because in Egypt, there is a constitution, there is law, and there is the will of the Egyptian people, which will not allow any leader to remain in their position for any period past their term, which is 4 years.
And on this issue, have you decided whether you will stand for re-election in 2018?
Let's pass these 4 years first. The challenges in Egypt are so many. And by the way, you have to understand that the will of the Egyptian people is what counts. Many people need to learn that about us in Egypt.
I want to talk about some of the challenges. Obviously, last year the economy grew at 4%. an enviable rate for almost any country. Obviously now, though, there are a lot of challenges. Youth unemployment is high, inflation is in double digits, and you're renegotiating that crucial loan from the IMF. You have said you're going to eliminate subsidies, which obviously help many very poor Egyptians, but are very difficult to afford now, perhaps impossible. Can you promise international investors that those subsidies are going away?
أنا بوعدهم إن في
I promise them that there is a state that's serious about economic reform and serious about tackling challenges efficiently without impacting the poor. There is a big difference between eliminating subsidies and correcting subsidies so that they reach the poor. In Egypt, subsidies are given to all classes of Egyptians without any differentiation. Both the rich and the poor receive subsidies similarly. It might even be that the rich receive more subsidies than the poor. Because, for example, when we subsidize automobile gasoline or electricity, we are in fact subsidizing the rich more than the poor. So what we are trying to accomplish is rationalization of subsidies so that the people who are more needy get some protective measures.
يتم عمل إجراءات حمائية لهم.
And what is the biggest economic challenge you face right now?
النمو السكاني. إحنا بننمو.
Population growth. We grow by almost 2.5% annually. That's almost 2.5 million per year. So every 4 years we increase by 10 million.
إحنا في أول السنة كنا 90.
In the beginning of the year, we were 90 million. Last month, we've become 91 million. By the end of the year, we'll be 92.5 million, approximately. For this number of people, you would need education, healthcare, you will need job opportunities, you will need housing, and you will also need to feed them.
وعايزة كمان طعام ليهم.
And obviously that is a crucial issue for you, and an urgent one, given the terror pressures that you have in Egypt. What are you doing specifically to help the young men in Egypt, the young men that unemployment is perhaps 40+%, to help provide opportunity for them in Egypt so that they can provide for their families and so that some of them do not turn to extremism?
خليني أصحح الأول الرقم.
Let me first correct that figure. We don't have a 40% unemployment. That figure is not correct. When I first took office, the number was 13.8%.
I'm referring specifically to youth unemployment. A youth unemployment that's an estimate is that it's much higher.
يعني اسمحي لي أقول لك إن
Please allow me to tell you that the young people in Egypt under the age of 40 are 60 million. And as for the job market, as a matter of fact, we have to provide more than 600,000 jobs a year. This is not an easy task for any country in the world to provide that number of job opportunities for that number of people. But we are making a very big effort in that regard. We are trying to encourage investment and to attract investors from within Egypt and outside of Egypt.
وجذب المستثمرين من مصر ومن خارج مصر.